I'd like to introduce the topic Lesson Learned and Cooperation to Tackle Future Pandemics. Our speakers are Mr. Shigeru Toyoda. He's an international cooperation advisor with Kanazawa University in Kanazawa, Ishikawa-ken. He is a pharmaceutical industry veteran and has 34 years of experience working in Takeda Pharmaceuticals in their various overseas offices in senior management position. He was also a director of Takeda Science Foundation in Juso and international cooperation advisor of Kansai Pharmaceutical Industries Association. He has a dual master degree in one in pharmaceutical and another on business administration. I welcome you, Mr. Toyoda-san, on board. And we have another speaker is Miss Mari Nogami Itoh is a veteran researcher with 40 years of research experience in the field of exomes, molecular biology, system biology, biomedical innovation, health, and nutrition in Osaka. She is also an honorary lecturer at Imperial College London. She is also serving lecturer coordinator, Center of Computational Life Science, Kobe University, and External Evaluation Committee, Initiative Female Researcher Active Support Program, Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology, etc. Over to you.
Okay, this is Shigeru Toyoda speaking. Can you hear me? And I'll share my presentation.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you see?
I can see your screen as well. Yes.
Yes. So thank you for inviting Konnichiwa Pune panel session and stay to in Japanese time 2 to 3 o'clock. Anyway, my theme is lesson learned and cooperation to tackle future pandemics. And this is the panel, so I will make a presentation 35 minutes. Decision making in Pfizer and verification from live data of new corona vaccine evaluation criteria for efficacy and safety, raw data that should be unknown in inoculation. And then as MCA introduced Dr. Mari Itoh, 10 minutes to avoid infection, medical treatment, and separate target against COVID-19 and future AI and other cooperation with India. And then we'd like to discuss some 10 minutes discussion. Okay? Okay, may I speak to my presentation. Anyway, my name is Shigeru Toyoda, not Toyota car. But I have 34 years Takeda Pharmaceutical Company, that is the largest pharmaceutical company in Japan. And I also lived in Taiwan 3 years and Tianjin, China 2 years. For the Japanese Takeda's activity. So this is my personal history. I retired when I was 60 years old, and actually I was born in 1949, October 2nd. I was born in Osaka, and I graduated Thunderbird School Phoenix in the United States, and then fully I retired in 2019, and I'm just international cooperation advisor of Kanazawa University in Kanazawa. So, what I would like to say, do you know some Indian people here seeing my presentation? This is in front of New Delhi station. So, as shown in 5 nights stay cottage, yes please, 900 rupees per loading, and it was some chaos and mess, but it's energy of India, I believe. So when I was 60 years old, retired backpacker of 11 cities in India. I visited 11 cities backpacker, and only first 2-3 days attendance of conference, life science conclave. This is some my previous pharmaceutical experience. But it was at New Delhi Hotel Taj Mahal. So this is the about 300 attendees, including FDA country directors, because FDA sent 7 representatives in India. I was so astonished and appreciate FDA's such a action, because almost 50% of American generic is made in India. So FDA is necessary to keep their inspection constantly. So, this is me. Sleeping train, large journey to New Delhi, 2009, September 23rd. So according to my 31 days experience, India was an incredible country. And at that time, 1.16 billion people in India, and 6% increase GDP, and everybody speak English. And according to some, statistic, in 2035, the GDP of India will over the United States. And India has a nuclear weapon. And Prime Minister Modi political power wins by the election of May 2019, and will change with stability for 5 years in the future. Political stability is also quite important for the economic countries. India was and be an incredible country. It's my impression. That is something, my introduction. So why not collaborating with Indian power? So today's session is I'm going to talk about the corona vaccine. So I would like, according to my experience in Takeda Pharmaceutical Company, I was always communicated with the FDA. So I search real raw data that should be known by inoculation. So my content is as follows. My totally private opinion about world crisis of COVID-19, and Pfizer's big decision. I mean, he's an excellent guy in last year. He is a great guy, 2020. US and China, US and India are deaths and infected people, and the monthly change of the number of people. And why is a vaccine now? And not yet finalized COVID-19. And the efficacy and safety data of Pfizer vaccines. From my point of view, I surveyed the FDA homepage and I get the real raw data to see. And risk of advantage of vaccination, efficacy and safety of AstraZeneca. As you know, in India, almost 30% is AstraZeneca's vaccine. You are in vaccination. Efficacy and safety, and Moderna is the second Pfizer's vaccine, and summary. So what I would like to say, this context. So see, it's a historical fact incomparable to the World War III. World War III. Why? Why? The World War II in Japan lose World War II, and 3.1 million people died in Japan. And please note, 260,000 in the United States died. And there are 200,000 in South Korea and 30,000 in Taiwan. But you see right now, the world death toll in Corona was 4.12 million, and in the United States is 770,000, surpassing Vietnam and World War II death. So, but according to the published data, China is only 4,632 death. So, what I would like to say that is it's almost World War III. The death toll and moreover some political balance. So it is the battle between totalitarian nations such as China, North Korea, and domestic nations such as the United States, as European Union countries. So the key weapon of previous war was submarine. But the key weapon of this World War III is vaccine. Vaccine is what the country has, how to approve this vaccine, how to produce this vaccine is in order to win the World War III. It is my personal opinion. But I really point out one important thing. This is a guy, this, you see, this guy. This guy is Turkish guy, Alberto Bura. He is a Pfizer CEO. Please note, at the Pfizer's meeting in March 2020 March is just spreading the coronavirus from China to world. Dr. Brewer said at the board meeting, don't worry about the money. Let's develop multiple vaccines, several vaccines, messenger RNA vaccine and other mechanism action vaccine together at the same time, and consider establishing a production system. Production system is also important in order to conduct the clinical trial, phase 3, before getting approval. If it fails to be put into the practical use, he said, but that's all I have to worry about. I am just losing billions of dollars. There is a huge investment in the production system. Invested this time, Dr. Bura, $2 billion in a venture company to get the messenger RNA patent and over $1 million for clinical trials. In order to conduct a clinical trial, according to the FDA guideline, it is necessary to make a precise production rate and same quality. So in Japan, there are so many public opinion program, NHK, that is the Pfizer, Moderna, and the efficacy rate is 59 or 66, but they do not see real figures, real raw data. So I want to show that one. And moreover, the case of the fatality rate is 2.1. The usual seasonal influenza kills 1 in 2000 means 0.05 fatality rate. So it's not the influenza. It's a corona vaccine, the higher fatality rate. And Japan is 1.3, India is 1.2 the same. But in Mexico or China is very high. Those are the mother population is different. And see, United States, the people infected per 100,000 is the number one in the world in United States. So I checked November 17th, just 3 days ago. From March 6th, only March to right now, or 8 months of died people has increased 94%. The deaths of toll has risen from 2.63 million to 5.12 million as of the November 17th, with the case of fatality rate is 2.1. You see these figures, 5.21 million people died due to the coronavirus. So, in my opinion, not yet finalized COVID-19. We are still the World War III. We need finish to finalize World War III. So death of the November, India is 465,000. That's the number one in the world. But according to the World Development Center announced, India death number is 10 times more than the government announced. So it means 4.64 to 4.9 million deaths in India. Means almost same death number in the world. So this by November 17th, Japan is 18,338. So vaccination per population is still 28.3 in India, November 19th. So inoculation times unit is of course 1.1 billion in India, but 2 times in inoculation per population still 28. In Japan is already 76.3. So therefore, Japanese infected people is now decreasing. But I think India also much more accelerates vaccination. So maximum number of the infected people is 47.5 million in the United States, and 770,000 people died, this number. And 50 countries have more than 10,000 people died. So please note the infected people number 2 in the world is India. And this rate in the world, of course, United States, the second is India. But according to the US Development Center's figures, India is more than this figure. So Spanish influenza happened in 1980 pandemic, made it difficult to continue World War I. World War I stopped because the troops in a submarine or warship, if the Spanish pandemic happened, they cannot continue to do a war. So the total 3 waves killed about 50 million people in the world. That is a catastrophic pandemic until right now for the human being. So currently, mutant strains are not called by country. So beta, alpha, gamma, delta. But it continues to change every amino acid, every infections. So, but see, in what I would like to say in Japan, the compared to the US, UK, German, France, Italy, the digital is different. The number of deaths will be the similar graph. The number of infected people per 100,000 population by country is from top to bottom is the United States, Brazil, Italy. But Japan is quite low. This is Japan, and Japan has some waves, but infected people is 1/10 in the European or US. Now, I want to show you the Pfizer. That is the best vaccine in the world, and moreover, 70% of the Japanese people was inoculated by Pfizer vaccines. And it is, of course, the age 12 years old or older, but now the new data is accepted less than 12. And but a problem is because of the messenger RNA, the drug transferred minus 19 or 60 degrees. So because of the diffuser rate storage is not so easy one. So Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca vaccine mechanism differences. Pfizer, Moderna is quite same because of the messenger RNA coated by lipid microsuper. But AstraZeneca's one carried adenovirus. So that is the difference. And later I will show the this is the Pfizer, Moderna vaccines interval and efficacy rate is different because of the phase 3 clinical trials. Okay. This is the topic is lesson learned. Lesson learned, all Japanese or me, in my point of view, only the FDA or EMA accepted, approved the AstraZeneca vaccine, can announce a protocol and clinical phase 3 study plan, which FDA will review for the approval, guidance and criteria of new vaccine. So I personally to survey the FDA homepage and see their criteria. They show before to conduct the Pfizer, they show what kind of efficacy data if the Pfizer shows the FDA approved. It is very clear. But Japanese FDA cannot do that. And other FDA also cannot do that. For example, China FDA or others, because the level of the FDA is a #1 and sophisticated government organization of ethical drug, food, and instrument in the world. So I'm experienced to fight and attack the FDA almost 5 years to get approval of the Takeda Pharmaceuticals anti-acid drugs. So FDA always very clear, but they show the highest guidance and guidelines. So overseas clinical trials, the Pfizer's one, you see 6 overseas, US, Germany, Turkey, Brazil, Argentina, South Africa. You can imagine the total number is 40,000 patients and very clear protocol and clear primary endpoint after the certain period of time. This is phase 3 clinical trial, infected clinical trial means placebo 20,000 and vaccination 20,000 and compare. So that kind of primary endpoint is very clear. FDA shows 1 or more suspected symptoms such as fever, cough, and shortness of breath, and to test the positive nucleic acid amplification test such as PCR. So not only PCR, but also these symptoms and PCR plus. Then this is infected. This is very important to make what is infected patient compared to placebo and vaccinated person. So without these clear criteria, we cannot conduct the clinical trials. So the total follow-up period, it's also something complicated. 1,000 man per year means how many 0.5 years, 0.3 years, and how many persons they are compared to the vaccinated one and placebo. The number of the patient, number of the people, and then the vaccinated 80,000 people people, only 8 got the corona infection. But the placebo, 162. So this suppression rate is 95%. So this kind of data, the Pfizer gathered within 6 countries and submit to the FDA. So this is quite $1 billion investment and a very hard job to do so, only some special period of time. But in Japan, this is only additional trial. Japan government get the FDA Pfizer's data and see how is Japanese people's control blind study by using placebo. Only 160 healthy Japanese adults. And then the 50% of the neutralizing antibody titer in serum. And in Japan, according to Japanese FDA guidelines, they could not show the infected clinical trial guidelines. They do not have. Only they show only small amount of numbers of the healthy volunteers, how the neutralizing antibody titer in serum, and then they accept this Pfizer drug. So almost US Pfizer's Andra decision and Andra big investment, Japan just next to FDA's approval, we also approve. So it is clear in English shown, including serum neutralizing antibody titers are being observed to the same extent in overseas clinical trials and involving multiple country, race, and ethnic groups based on what was shown. It is thought that the effectiveness of the vaccine can be expected in Japanese as well. So only small number of the, piggyback clinical trial Japan approved. So I think it's a pity the Japanese FDA has no power, no protocol, no guideline to approve the vaccines in Japan. That is the reason why Japan cannot start a new clinical trial. So this is the Japan trial, the neutralizing antibody titer in Japan trial. So vaccinated 160 plus only 40. So as you can imagine, Pfizer's clinical trial, 80,000 placebos. They just saline to injected and compared to the active vaccines. So such a big clinical trial, Japan cannot do. And this is a Pfizer's almost 40,000 patient and adverse event. It's clear pain is compared to the placebo, 77% pain, and feeling tired is 55%. So after the vaccination, you can see this result. So, and why we can make a vaccine? Of course, in Japan, some of the people died due to the vaccination. But what I would like to say right now is, what is the risk? In Japan, 9.6 out of 1 million people died from vaccination. But this is high or low? Of course, 1 in a million people have died from the flu vaccine too. So the risk of infections, 1 million infected, 160 deaths per person. So it means compared to 9.6, 106. So in my point of view, or it is necessary to vaccination for many people. So this is the lecture of former principal of the Japan Coast Guard School, Miyake Aviation Branch. Safety is an acceptable danger. So it means vaccination is safe. Once aircraft take off, it has no choice but to land or crash. Probability of aircraft crash is 0.0009. You can see, as I told you, 1,009,600 people died due to the vaccination, but 10 accidents per million flight in the world. Do you fly? Do you use the aircraft? Anyway, this is the same thing. Safety is acceptable danger. So AstraZeneca's efficacy rate is a little bit different from Pfizer because due to the clinical trial difference, and included 70,178 participants. The number is different, and the criteria also different. 143 days, and from the second inoculation to the 83 days, they see the primary endpoint, infected or not. So the efficacy rate is different, 66.7, and the clinical trial of AstraZeneca different. UK, Brazil, South Africa, and so on. And phase 1 to 2 or 1/2 they conducted and in several countries. So this is something, the criteria difference between US FDA and EMA. So Moderna is quite almost same criteria of the primary endpoint, but a little bit different, and 100% carried out overseas in all US, not 6 countries, US. Moderna is the second US developed one, and total number is 30,000 subjects. So this is what I would like to say is almost same as after Pfizer's vaccine. So, but clinical trial of Moderna is same. Only 200 healthy volunteers, and also see the is believes that the effectiveness of the vaccine can be expected. Expected means in Japan, Japanese government do not show the guideline of infected clinical trial. Only just piggyback clinical trial, small number, 300. In Japan, it is not so easy to conduct the real clinical phase 3 trial because of the placebo injection is some religious reason or ethical reason. It's not so easy to do. So, summary. This is the lesson learned from the COVID-19. But in my point of view, still we are fighting to the coronavirus because are not yet finalized in India too. The difference between Japan and the United States, where there is no military emergency in Japan. In other words, influential vaccine manufacturers such as United States, Britain, Germany, France, China, and Russia are owned by the military. So vaccines to prepare to infectious disease when dispatching overseas troops, navies, and have become important strategic supply for war. So Russia developed Sputnik. It's a Russian military. Japan has only 4 influenza vaccine manufacturers. Takeda withdrew 20 years ago, and Japan do not have a solid guideline for vaccine clinical trial like FDA and EMA. There was no basis in Japan to administer half of placebo, as I told you, and see the infectious rate. In fact, that it has been approved in such a study of about 200 Japanese followers of Pfizer, Moderna, and AstraZeneca approach. And moreover, GCP, good clinical practice and good manufacturing practice, good manufacturing practice required by manufacturers and others. You see, which was the basis of new drug approval, also piggyback of the US FDA. So Pfizer, Moderna vaccines approved in Japan, but the Japanese government can have a power to see GMP in Pfizer's manufacturing facility. So because the FDA approved, okay, we approve. So meanwhile, Mr. Yoshihide Suga, Japanese former prime minister, met Pfizer's CEO, Andra Bura, in the United States in April 2021, and imported Western vaccine, Moderna Pfizer vaccine, for the Japanese population because the current administration had the goal of Olympic at that time. So I think it can well. So former Prime Minister Suga did a very good job, and we, Japan, invited Andra Bura for Olympic game, and it was not announced, but this was the lesson what I learned. And we have the FDA's power on the FDA's approval guidelines in Japan, get the Pfizer vaccine. So, message of Konnichiwa Pune is, please understand what I would like to say of the Pfizer vaccine, Moderna vaccine, AstraZeneca vaccine. Still, India is fighting. Not yet, only 28% was vaccinated in India. In order to finalize, maybe more than 50%. And then please understand, understanding the best strategy. So we send a material request to Shigeru to the email or English, then I will send my materials. Okay, thank you very much. This is my presentation.
Thank you very much, Toyoda-san. It was very informative with the detailed statistics. I would now like to request Ms. Mari, please start with the presentation.
Yes. よろしくお願いします。こんにちは。
こんにちは。
I am Mari Itoh. So let me share my slides. Can you see my slides?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. Thank you very much. And first of all, thank you very much for giving me such a great, wonderful opportunity to talk in front of you in Konnichiwa Pune. And following the presentation by Senior Toyoda, actually he is my senior in Osaka University, and he's, actually excellent, the talk based on the very, precise data and the fact. And actually he pointed out, clearly that what Japanese government, need to learn anyway. And so I would like to touch upon the clinical problem of COVID-19 and future, countermeasures. So, okay, the first, in addition to the profile, you introduced already, let me, introduce a little bit, more about my research interest. What I have been aiming for in my long research life. So this is, so you can see, this is a metabolic map, a map showing how, substance change in our body. And it's like a route map showing the destination of a substance. And looking at this, I thought that people might get sick when this map was wrong. I mean, this map is going too wrong. So since then, I have been looking for answers to the questions of where the illness come from based on this map. Okay, and actually nowadays, recently the science is really advancing, and I am doing research with the help of artificial intelligence now. Okay, so now let's return to the COVID-19 topic. And actually over 200 of millions of people, have been affected, and unfortunately, millions of people have died around the world. So many lives have been lost in India and Japan as well, as Senior Toyoda, introduced in his lecture also. And the various symptoms caused by COVID-19. Now, you can see in this picture, and especially in the right-hand side, the severe disease, symptoms in the severe cases, the thrombosis, and systemic immunity, pulmonary fibrosis, and multiple organ failure due to inflammatory. And so, furthermore, actually, the fibrotic, here, the fibrotic lung is really, severe, problem that called after effect, like long COVID also. So this is how, become a big problem. So of course, the important thing is not to take it. To this end, that each of us needs to be careful not to take it. And in addition, our body has the force of immunity. It is important to keep our immunity in a good phase, and we need to keep the power of immunity. So as shown here, the immune function is influenced by your lifestyle. For example, on the right, the unhealthy bad eating habits, or the disturbed sleep, lack of exercise. Actually, I have been doing telework since April of last year, so 1 year and a half already, and I actually am the lack of exercise anyway, and also stress, and so they cause a kind of bad influence to the immune system. And here, but the good diet, you can see the many vitamins. Actually, it's taking the balancing, with vitamin and also oil or this metal. That these, things are keeping your immune system good. And I like to add also mushrooms and probiotics. And so keep your, immune function good is very, actually important. Okay, so finally, let's think about the ways to counter the upcoming pandemic, including COVID-19. Again, the first, the prevent infection is very important. And also the vaccination is also very important. And next, the hospital, acceptance, right here, the B. And, actually, we need to enhancement of the medical system. There are people who have lost their lives without being accepted by the hospital. Never let that happen. It is to improve the hospital reception system. Okay, and the third C, the medication. actually drug development. It's good that new oral medicines, are approved and, developed also. So this is very good news. And now, so research on drugs using AI is becoming more, active. So this slide shows the course after infection with SARS-CoV-2, and it is necessary to develop a treatment method or drugs, drug discovery, definitely needed for all these points, especially the lung fibrosis that I mentioned before. So this is the cause of the long COVID. And actually, this, fibrosis remains over a year after the recovery of the, acute phase of the COVID-19. And so this is very important to focus on these 4, drug target points. And now I am doing anyway, actually, so to try to develop the drugs for these, 4 points also. And I'm collaborating with many Indians I have been, and especially a lot of work related to AI and COVID-19 fibrosis with Professor Chandra Ahmad in Jawaharlal Nehru University and Dr. Rakesh Tripathi in Tsukuba in Japan, and also many members of external company in AI development. And we actually published together so many papers about the fibrosis and also in air artificial intelligence analysis. Okay, so finally, this is the last slide of mine. So in this way, I believe that joint research will connect India and Japan to tackle many medical problems, including COVID-19. So thank you for your attention. So in my short talk, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marisa.
Thank you.
It was really informative and useful information
Thank you
you
very
have
much.
given us for challenges for future pandemic situations and how to improve it. How can we improve in ourselves? It was really useful. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
To Miss Toyoda さん、何か
いえ
追加のコメントとかありますか？
なんか誰かそれともサンタさんから僕と伊藤さんのプレゼンについてでも質問もらった方がいいかなと思いますけど。はい。
わかりました。I'll just check our YouTube channel if there are any comments or any questions for you, and I'll get back to you.
Okay. 伊藤さん、このインドの人、the Indian researchers, you find in some internet or just to direct to connect to Itoh-san's group of AI workshops?
Yeah, actually they, came to Japan to collaborate with our, research field, the bioinformatics and AI, and as a postdoc at that time. And then they, actually Dr. Chandra, Professor Chandra, came back to India and developed his, research field in India. And so the very, the first point, so they actually sent a proposal for the collaboration with us. So actually, that is very good opportunities for me to take this, chance to collaborate with India, researchers, because they really expertise in terms of the, calculation using AI and developing AI and also statistics or any, a kind of, technique and also very big knowledge, about this, technology.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we have our Vice President of IJBC who would like to ask some questions to you.
Sure.
Hello.
Please.
First of all, thank you very much to both Toyoda-san and Itoh-san. It was really nice to know so many interesting facts, both from statistical side and also from the immune response point of view. I have one question, and that both of you can choose who wants to answer this. But all your discussion and everything we have seen, if you see the vaccine response from the India side, and India have a large population, and you can get a lot of statistics out of what is happening, what are the effects, how the immune system is responding, and all that. For both Covaxin and Covishield, those are the two vaccines that India produces. Covishield definitely with AstraZeneca technologies from AstraZeneca, and we are producing it here. And also Bharat Biotech is producing this Covaxin. So any comments on these two vaccines and how India has responded? Do you want to make any comments on this?
Toyoda-san.
Okay, I checked the India's vaccine is mainly AstraZeneca's licensing technologies and made in India, and but the another one is Korean vaccine, right?
No, that is indigenous. That is from Bharat Biotech. The technology is developed in
Biontech.
Technology Biontech, Covaxin.
Covaxin, yes.
Covaxin is developed in India.
Yes.
So that is anyway. Why India do not import or use Moderna or Pfizer's vaccine?
I mean, I have my own opinion, but I think we already have we have a definitely large population with us, and every country will prefer if we can develop our own technology and be technology sufficient. That's definitely one of the aims. And with our national motto, if you see, we want to become self-reliable. So that might be the reason that we are believing in our own technologies, and definitely AstraZeneca technology. And that's giving us a good result. Currently, if you see the numbers, and after almost majority part of the population is now already vaccinated, at least one vaccine, almost everyone has got, more than 80% is now vaccinated. So, and we can see that it's resulting well. We do not see another surge yet. There might be one, nobody knows, but at least we don't see one yet. So I believe that's basically the reason that if we ourselves have a good technology, why we should import? Because import will have a lot of implications, including financials. So that looks like the rationale, at least from my side.
In Japan, the Pfizer vaccine is all Moderna vaccine is all.
The Toyoda-san's Wi-Fi is no good now. Oops.
Extremely sorry, Toyoda-san, but we are not able to hear you.
So maybe the Wi-Fi is not so good, but I think I guess what he wanted to say is that actually in Japan, the Pfizer, both Pfizer and Moderna, that also imported, and so imported, and so it is
Covaxin and Covishield.
Right. Imported, and so as you said, that really important to produce in your own country is actually very, important thing. Because the next pandemic and the next pandemic, we have to prepare anyway. So, and the vaccination is all the people needs in the all over the world. And so actually Japanese people are really afraid. Okay, Toyoda-san, come back.
Video. Okay, please.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. So Toyoda-san, I really, I actually guessed. So what you, wanted to say about the vaccine, vaccination. And so the Pfizer and Moderna is, in Japan, the all, imported. And so actually very important to produce our, own country and, actually provide ourselves is very, very important. Yeah. And also the, a question is that, does that, kind of a vaccine, is it AstraZeneca's one, also, produce the certain, efficacy to the Indian people, or, the different, actually genetic background, all the nations, and so eventually the clinical test that actually tells that kind of the efficacy in all over the world. The point is also against the mutated one, and so that we need to collect more, information to the new vaccine, material, the efficacy against the, mutated virus. And so I think in India that also the, I hope the vaccination, population is really increase and increase.
So thank you very much, Toyoda-san and Itoh-san.
Sorry, this is Toyoda. Something internet problems. Some discussion was interrupted. Anyway, please go ahead now. I stopped the video.
Thank you very much for all your opinion, and it's really nice listening to you. And I believe that there are a lot of things we can definitely do, both the countries, as far as the vaccine manufacturing on the immune system response is concerned. With the large amount of population we have and the large amount of data that we are generating, those will definitely be helpful for the whole research fraternity in future, for more vaccine development or other healthcare, solving other healthcare issues across the globe. So once again, thank you very much, and looking forward to interact with you in future.
Thank you very much.